Hey everybody, how's it going? This is going to be a quick video. I just wanted to get my thoughts out about the whole PUBG trying to copyright the frying pan deal versus NetEase and rules of survival. And the too long didn't watch of it is, I think everybody's blowing this out of proportion. For those of you who don't know, Bluehole or Tencent or PUBG or whoever is leading this lawsuit is suing the creators of a mobile game called Rules of Survival, created by a studio in China or a publisher in China named NetEase. Now, this company is pretty well known for creating lots of clones, and that's what Rules of Survival is. It's a clone of PUBG. And if you look at the gameplay and you look at the screenshots and you look at the advertising campaign around it, you can see that it's pretty blatant and pretty, shameless. That's a good word for it, shameless. Some Reddit users have even seen instances of Rules of Survival advertising with a screenshot from PUBG. If that's not intentionally trying to fool or mislead your potential customers into thinking you're something that you're actually not, or something that you're trying to copy, I don't know what is. But anyway, if you look into the document that PUBG put out about what's being cloned in the game, you see a lot of very small, frivolous things. You see things like claiming that the frying pan has never been used in a first-person shooter before, which it has. It's been in TF2 and in a number of other games. And there's also a lot of other, like, really silly claims like that all throughout this document. I'm not going to go through each one of them in detail, but like I said, they're silly. Silly down to the level of claiming that a frying pan is unique, claiming that jumping out of an airplane is unique. And here's the thing. Yes, PUBG is an amalgamation of unoriginality itself. It certainly wasn't the first battle royale game. It's certainly using a lot of bought assets from the Unreal Store. I think it's from the Unreal Store or wherever. It doesn't matter where it's from. They're using a lot of assets that they didn't make themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. And here's the thing. The way I see it, they're not even trying to claim originality over these individual parts. That's just what the court document looks like. And you know what? Lawyers are going to do whatever they can to make their case look as good as possible. I completely believe that Bluehole doesn't really believe that they own the concept of a frying pan protecting your butt while you're not using it, or the concept of using a crowbar in a first-person shooter, or a third-person shooter as it may be. I don't think they're that dumb. Again, this is a legal document, and legal documents are going to be a little bit different than the way you or I talk, you know? But here's the thing. Take all of these things put together. Take the gameplay look and feel and what Rules of Survival is trying to do and trying to emulate and, more importantly, actively trying to look like, and you have something that is a blatant copy, an unashamedly blatant copy, and what I think is a solid case for PUBG and Bluehole. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so take that last part with a grain of salt. It's been an unfortunate reality for a long time now that popular games are going to get cloned. Especially when it comes to the Chinese market of game developers and video games, there is a lot of cloning going on and a lot of aping of assets in what could only be described as trying to make money off of what was already popular without having any originality yourself. And say what you will about PUBG and its originality. Hell, I agree with you. It's not a very good-looking or original-looking or creative-looking game, but it is PUBG. It might be close to what H1Z1 was or what Arma, the mod in Arma was, but it's not those games, and it's not trying to be those games. It's trying to be its own game. Rules of Survival is trying to be PUBG, to the point where it's aping the art style. It's aping a lot of these very specific gameplay elements, and each one by itself you can take and you can put it in your game, and that would be called an inspiration. However, if you take all of these things and you put them all in the same kind of game, with the same art style, with the same premise, with the same mechanics, that's when you get into dangerous territory. That's when you get into clone territory. And I don't mean clone like Fortnite Battle Royale is a PUBG clone. They're the same genre, and colloquially we might talk about them as clones, but they're very different. Fortnite at least went out of its way to do many of those things that it does unique when compared to PUBG. And that's what counts. It's the context of the overall composition. Again, I keep saying this in my videos, But video games are compositions. They're a sum of its parts. It's not just the art style. It's not just the mechanics. It's not just individual mechanics. It's all of these things put together. And when you go as far as NetEase has to create rules of survival to, as close as possible, get to where PUBG is, so far as taking very specific mechanical elements and putting them in the very same specific genre, and the very same specific number of players on the map, and the very same specific way of getting into the map, and you put all of it together, it looks bad. It just looks bad. And unfortunately, we see these clones, and we just say to ourselves, this is just what happens. This is a reality of game development and being popular. And while that's correct, why do we have to accept it? Why are we normalizing this, what can only be described as a theft of intellectual property? It needs to stop. It needs to stop. That's all there is to say. Anyway, like I said, this was just going to be a short video so I can get my thoughts out there. So please let me know what you think in the comments below. I know it's currently hot and fun to make fun of PUBG and them trying to claim frying pans, but like I said, I think it's so much bigger than that. I don't think Bluehole is that stupid to think that they own a concept of a frying pan. At this point, I think they've realized themselves that they don't own the concept of a battle royale either. But I, for one, hope that Bluehole wins this case and sets a precedent against games that are blatantly cloning other games. Anyway, like I said, please let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, and special thanks to one of my viewers and patrons, Landsbytossen, for this PUBG footage. Thanks so much, dude. It helped a lot.